तन झूठ है, मन झूठे तन झूठ है, जिह्वा झूठी होए, मुख झूठे झूठ बोलना, क्यों कर सोचा हूँ मन झूठे तन झूठ है। बिन अब शब्द नामा जिए, साचे ते सच होए, मुंदे गुणहीणी सुख के, फिर रलियां रस मान से, शब्द साच शब्द सुख ने, मुंदे गुणहीणी सुख के, फिर रलियां रस मान से, साच शब्द सुख ने, फिर परदेसी जे थिए, तन वांडी झूरे, ज्यों जल थोड़े मछली, करन पलाव करे, फिर भावे सुख पाइए, आपे नदर करे, जा आपे नदर करे, फिर सलाही आपना, सखी सहेली नाल, तन सोहे मन मोया, रते रंग निहाल, शब्द सवारी सोहनी, फिर रावे गुण नाल, कामन काम ना भई, खोटी अवगुण आर, ना सुख पइए सहारे, झूठ जली बेकार, आवण वंजन डाखड़ो, छोड़े कंत विसार, फिर किनार सुहावनी, मुक्ति सो क्यों कित साध, फिर कै काम ना भई, बोले फादल बाद, दर घर ढोए ना लहे, छूटे दूजे साध, पंडित वाचे पोथियां, ना पूजे विचार, अन कौमती दे चले, माया का बबार, कथनी झूठे जग भवे, रहनी शब्द सुसार, के ते पंडित जोत की वेदा करे विचार वाद विरोध फलाहणे वादे आमन जान बिन गुर कर्म ना छुटसी कै सुन आँख खान सब गुणवंती आखिए मैं गुण नाही कोई हर वर नार सुहावणी मैं भावे प्रभ सोय सब नानक शब्द मिलावड़ा नानक शब्द मिलावड़ा ना विछोड़ा होए मुंदे गुणहीनी सुख के मुंदे गुणहीनी सुख के। Last setting. Gurbani was sharing with us that from the outer dimension, even when you have all of the characteristics of a person, of a being, that appears to be doing everything right, does not necessarily mean that that person is getting closer to the spiritual inner evolution. And it used the metaphor of a fish in the water. Machli jal na janeya, sarkhara asgaha, at syani sohani, क्यों की तो वे साह at syani, meaning at means extreme, syani means somebody who's very smart, sohni means somebody who looks very beautiful. He said, look at the fish. It lives in the ocean. It is part of the ocean. Ocean is the life. Ocean is the sustenance. But it doesn't recognize that fact. It just doesn't care. Then what happens? Machli jal na jane. Jal means that net. The fisherman throws the net. And in order to attract the fish toward the net, there is always a certain aroma, a certain smell in that net. And they keep running. Why are they running? Because they are thinking there is a smell, there is an aroma of the food. And despite all of the smartness, it gets trapped in the outer dimension. So, by taking that metaphor, Gurbani said, Bhai re, ਇਉਂ ਸਿਰ ਜਾਣੋ ਕਾ ਜਿਉਂ ਮੱਛੀ ਤਿਉਂ ਮਾਨਸਾ ਪਵੇ ਅਚੰਤਾ ਜਾਲ. You say, Mansa means, oh man, oh human. When I look at you, you give the same impression, which is extremely beautiful and extremely smart. Atasehani sohani. Looking at you, it appears that you are closer to your destination. But जो मछली त्यों मानसा पवे अचिंता जाल. You are also going to be trapped by this net that is the illusionary Maya. And you are not going to see it. And you don't see it. Despite of the fact that you are, in spite of the fact that you are warned, you are talked to, you are told, it is written, it has been documented for the time immemorial by various mystics who were able to break away from the illusionary world and then point out to you, say, look, what you think is real is really an illusion created by the macro vision of something that is actually micro. Now, those of you who attended with us the scientific research in that documentary, that was exactly what that science was saying. How? Let me share with you again. If we look at this earth as a football, and we look at the cosmos, the planets and the sun and everything, you can say how much distance is between. It's all space, it's all void. Not empty, there's something in there. Yeah, there's a distance between. And the scientists said, okay, we see the earth and the football or anything else as solid because we're looking at a macro scale. We measure this scale in what? Light years. The distances are measured with the speed of light, which is 186,000 miles per second. It takes 6 minutes for the light to reach from sun to the earth. Now, if you put that number in mind, the closest star to us is not few million miles, but few hundred light years. The distance traveled by light in few hundreds years. And then there are stars where the distance is in few billion light years. So the scientists said, okay, that you can relate with. But let me tell you that everything is exactly the same. Let's drop right down to the atom. Now we cannot see the atom with our naked eye. But if you take that atom and put it under the microscope, it doesn't matter which atom you are taking, you will find that there is a nucleus. And around that nucleus there are electrons which are rotating just as the earth is rotating around the sun. And if the nucleus was to be the same football size, if we magnify it, the first electron in a hydrogen atom is revolving at a distance of 20 miles. That means between that and that, that's all space. It's all space. So when you look at it from a micro level, it is all space. You look at a macro level, it is all space. Yet, we have a belief system that is all solid. And they try to shake you up. And those of you remember that shot in which the little child throws the basketball and the person on the other side who's catching it says, well, that hurts. And he says, no, it never touched you. How could it hurt you? And she cannot relate with it. What do you mean it never touched me? Say, well, nothing touches anything ever. And the scientist says, look, it is a very common knowledge that the electrons carry negative charge. Proton carries positive charge. We all know it's a fundamental physics of every matter. And electrons are always on the surface. So when the two surfaces are coming closer, two negative charges can only repel. They cannot attract. So long as they are repelling, they cannot touch. But they are only touching at a macro scale, not at a micro level. Now, if you have understood this, how come you are still believing everything is solid? You change your paradigm, start perceiving the things at the micro scale. The day you are able to drop, and this is actual dialogue of a scientist who says, when we hear the people were able to walk through the walls. So you can walk through the walls too. No, I can't. So no, yes, you can. You just have to learn to behave at the micro level. There is a space between your electron and the wall's electron. You just need to pass through the space rather than trying to hit the nucleus. But we will never accept it. Because some smart guy will immediately slap you on the face and say, well, my hand never touched you. Yes, from that dimension, it did hit me. From this dimension, it didn't. And spirituality is a science of microcosm. Building blocks so that you can see the macro in its true nature rather than locked in your belief systems and keep on living the belief rather than keep on living the reality. With that message from our last sitting, Guru Bani brings us and says, well, here is the problem now. You will not accept it. You will not challenge your own belief system. Why? The belief belongs in the mind, not in the body. Belief is a thought process. More solid your belief system, less changeable it is going to be. Not only that, some belief systems are so strong that when you say something, it repels them so much, they say, I never want to see your face again. Why? You just said that. That's very repulsive to me and I do not want to keep relationship with such a person. It happened to me. I was in 9th grade. I had just read Freud and I was explaining the Oedipus complex, mother fixation, father fixation, to a class fellow of mine. And when I told him that, he said, I don't want to be your friend. I never want to. Because you are even allowing the possibility of what Freud is saying. A male child can dream of having a physical relationship with the mother. Because that's the first intimate contact. And as soon as I said, look, this is written in the book, psychology. He's not saying that it's possible only in Indians or Americans or Europeans. He's not talking about, he's talking of a human mind itself. If you are my younger brother, I would have slapped you silly. Stop reading that nonsense. At that time, it didn't matter much. The day I can see how frozen that belief system was. That it may not accept it, it may not condone it, it may not, but it did not even allow its existence. And a spiritual revolution demands the fundamental condition, which is said in a different way, called belief, trust, faith. That you accept few things even if they don't mean anything to you. I ran into a similar situation in watching a Hollywood movie called The City of Angels. And a doctor is talking to a person who actually happens to be an angel, who allows to be on his own wish to be seen by others or not seen by others. So in this case, he allows to be seen by this doctor, whom he is helping in the kitchen to cut salad. And he passed a knife. The doctor saw that the knife passed through the hand. But he is not feeling anything and she can't believe it. So now she comes and she insists, give me your hand. Give me your hand. He gives him the hand, she puts it on the floor, take the knife and pass through the... And he's saying, please don't do it, please don't do it, please don't do it. And she does it and there is nothing cutting, but the hand is visible. And she says, well, you're not bleeding. I cut you. Yeah, you cut in your own way. I can't accept that. And the dialogue that was so powerful, whether you believe or not, certain things are just true. They are not slave of your acceptance. Your vote is irrelevant. Isn't it? When we talk of spirituality, is our vote important? It's just there. We can accept it, we can reject it, we can take it, we can leave it. It's just there. It is so. And Gurbani says, therein lies the problem. Because unless your mind accepts it, you are saying it's wrong. Hence, your journey never moves even an inch. And that's where the very first statement, man jhoot hai. The mind does not accept. It hears it. Some of it rationalizes it. And someone will say, well, yeah, it is possible. But it's not possible for me. It may be possible for somebody else. So I'll allow it to be possible for somebody, but it's not for me. And when that happens, then what happens? Tan jhoot hai. When the inner revolts, the outer automatically becomes false. Man jhoot hai. Mind process is contaminated. What's mean jhoot? Contaminated, touched by somebody else, right? Man jhoot hai, then what happens? Tan jhoot hai. That's automatic. Because the inner revolution never ever moves from outer to the inner. It is a rarest event in the history of consciousness that the outer would come and do. You know who? There's only one person documented in the history of consciousness who was able to do that. And we have talked about him in these sittings. His name was Patanjali. Patanjali's Yoga Shastra came out of the experiment of changing the outer and then watching the inner. The whole science of yoga, all those yogas that we do today, they came from Patanjali. And the objective was, put first the body in that posture And if you do it right long enough, it will create its corresponding effect inside. All other saints have been doing the other way around. Modify the change and the outer posture will automatically change. Much easier, much faster to implement. Sikhism also is a proponent of that thought. Change the inner. Focus on the inside energy. Not what you are outside, what you appears outside, how you are perceived outside, how you are judged outside. Focus on the inside. But it is, as an individual, it's easier to implement. As a part of the group consciousness, it is much more difficult to implement. If you start a yoga class, you will find a gazillion of people ready to join you. If you start a class and say, sit down and look inside, you find very few people because who knows what's going on. And I can tell you from my personal experience, I am a recipient of that critique every day. Well, from the outside you look this, you do that, you appear this. Hence you are wrong, hence you are bad. You don't believe me? Okay, we're going to have a voting process. We'll invite 100,000 people and ask, is this right? Why go there? You already know the answer to that question. To a seeker, according to the Sikh system, the first requirement is what? Work on your mind. Which is what? Collection of thoughts and beliefs. Where did they come from? Most of them, not all of them, most of them came to you in this lifetime. From your parents first, then society, your immediate environment, and then your education system and business system. Those are the 4 places where your belief systems evolved. Question every one of them. Because if you don't, then this is what happens. Man jhoot hai, tan jhoot hai, jeva jhoothi hoye. Jeva means your speech pattern. Because what is going to come out of you is also going to be then according to what the belief is. Is it not? I mean, you are going to be proponent of the thought process. That is your own belief system. So whatever you will say. So Gurbani says, look at the link. Man jhoot hai, tan jhoot hai, jehva jhoothi hoye. They all got contaminated, including your speech pattern. And then what follows? Mukh jhoothe, jhoot bolna. Then everything that is not the totality. Remember, truth can always be only the truth, nothing but the truth. The lie can be either way. Truth can be 50%, does not work in a spiritual sense. So then what will happen? Mukh jhoothe, because it's contaminated, then jhoot bolna. All of the words that will come out would be false. Which is what happens with us. Because when we meet the so-called preachers, so-called the proponents, some of the words in there resonate with us. But they are contaminated. They are contaminated with what? We will hear right in this hymn, it will tell you what are they contaminated with. But for now, it says, if those are the conditions, O seeker, how do you expect the result to be? क्यों कर सोचा होए? How do you expect the result to be the purest form? Sucha. See, jhoot, impurity. Sucha, purity. How do you expect it to be pure? How can the end result be pure? The whole link, look how many chains, how many links of that chain. Mind, body, language, expression, technique, everything has been contaminated. Because you do not accept the fundamental law of the creation. And one of the law is what? This is illusion. This is Maya. And our very first reaction to that is, alright, let me throw a stone at your head and tell me if that blood is real or not. That's how we test. We don't even stop for a minute that, okay, when this is being said, it is all illusion. That means, let's understand the nature of that illusion. That illusion will look, feel, taste real to the senses. But the senses are slaves of the time and space. They can never tell you the truth. A snake, a real snake can appear a rope from a distance, and a rope can appear a snake from a distance. Are the eyes not seeing properly? What's going on here? Your eyesight is still 20/20. How come you cannot see? Oh, it was dark. Hearing, tasting, feeling. You touch the ice and then touch the water, it is different. You touch the hot stove and then touch the water, the feeling is different. So, what does that mean? The senses are subject to the environmental control. They cannot tell you the absolute truth. And you are depending upon your senses for every little thing. And a seeker, a mystic comes to you and say, you can develop another sense which will allow you to see a different nature of the same thing. No, that's not possible. No, you can see the fluid nature of the solid matter. You don't believe? Aldous Huxley, one of the most honored and renowned writer and poet of the 19th century, he was chosen as a subject of experiments with the very first lab-produced psychedelics in Switzerland. And he wrote a book after that called The Doors of Perception. Buy that book and read it. Under full laboratory control, full time duration as to how the psychedelic was picking up and how his perceptions were changing, how they were when the curve was down, how long he stayed in that space, how did he describe while in that space, looking at the same thing that he described when he was not in it. And that's why he said the doors of perception. Our perceptions are coming through the fixed reality. And because it is, hence, we do not experience what? मुख झूठ है, झूठ बोलना क्यों कर सूचा होए? How is it possible? You cannot experience the truth. You cannot experience the purest form of reality. क्यों कर? How? Sucha, pure. Hoy, how can it be? you have violated the very first fundamental law. Then what's required? Look how quickly, Gurbani doesn't, want to pontificate. It says, well, here is the reason why you don't see it. Here is how you can see it. How can you see it? Bin ab shabad na manjiye sache te sach hoye. Ab means water. How do we clean up the impurity? Any kind of impurity. We use water. Then, if you literally translate it, somebody who wants to advertise visiting a place where there is some good place to take a shower or take a bath, it just says you need water. The purest form of water is in Ganges. Go to India. No, but and it doesn't need to anything else, right? Bin ab shabad na manjiye. Pani, water. The rest of the sentence will becomes irrelevant. That's not what Gurbani is saying. It's saying bin ab, kaun sa pani? Which water? Shabad, the word. Shabd Rupi Pani. If you don't use the word as you use the water to clarify, to cleanse the body, if you don't use the word of the Guru to cleanse your mind from that doubt, if you don't seek the clarity through what? Bin ab shabad naam anjiye. If you don't use that, you cannot do it. It is the word of the master who has been there. You have to accept it. You can't say, Guru ji teri na dekhe usne mara mere sare gaal laal ho gayi. Aap kehte hain kisi ne chhuya hi nahi. He hit me so hard, I'm still crying, and you are telling me no, nobody touches nothing. How can I accept that? You can accept that by accepting the fact that there is a different dimension. The laws are different. The rules are different. Stop applying the physical laws of physics into the dimension of spirituality. You will never succeed. Bin ab shabd na manjiye sache te sach hoye. Only the pure can show you the pure. Impure cannot show you the pure. Hatred can never ever give birth to the love. Love may be able to create love. Negative energy can never create positive energy. Positive energy can become both. People can take your action of love and misinterpret it, misread it. Aha, this guy is being so kind to me, must be some ulterior motive, let me hit him hard. Let him tell him I am nobody's fool. But hatred will always be reacted by hatred. Now we don't accept even a simple rule like that. We always respond with a rejection, with a hatred. He did this, I'm going to do that. Why shouldn't I do that? And then we become very, very righteous. We call ourselves holy. You know how we justify it? Well, go read the Bible. It says eye for eye. I am being very true to my religion. Holy book says eye for an eye. Never understood what that context was. What was that purpose? How it was supposed to be interpreted. What the statement eye for an eye means. In simplistic terms, all it says, reaction should not be disproportionate to the action. That's all it means. Should not be disproportionate. What were we doing in those days? This one has broken her vows. Okay, so kill her. Because that's what was happening, right? They were stoning the people to death because they were breaking their vows of being physically faithful to each other. Is that proportionate? That's why Jesus said, those without sin, pick the first stone. What are you doing? Eye for eye was in that context. It didn't mean that if you have taken my eye, I'm going to take your eye. And that's why even a politician like Gandhi reminded the people, hey, I'm no mystic, but eye for an eye would have made the whole world blind. What are you doing? But we never understand the true implications of the word. Just go implement what is convenient to us. And Gurbani says, look, a misinformation, an untruth can only lead to untruth. If you are a seeker of the truth, then go seek the truth. And remember, truth is always 100%. If there is an exception, which is what we tend to do in our social environment all the time, under these circumstances, can we just not, this should be okay, even though the truth is this, but under these circumstances, can we not just do this? The answer is no. You can implement the half truth, but half lie, but you cannot implement the half truth. Truth is or is not. And that's what Gurbani is emphasizing. Sache te sach hoye. Only truth can lead to the truth. Munde. The one who doesn't know. In a loving way, you are being childish. Understand. Oh childish mind, understand. Gunhini sukh ke. Gun means characteristics. Without the proper characteristics, how can you ever enjoy the ultimate bliss? Sukh, blissfulness. K means how is it possible? It's not going to work. Only those who have understood it, which is Pirraliya Rasamanasi. That energy. Now, the entire Shabad is going to use the metaphor. Last time it was using the metaphor fish and water. In this hymn, the metaphor is the woman and the lover. It takes that metaphor and entire Shabad resounds that. How is that relationship between the two lovers? Per means the lover, husband. Pirraliya Rasamanasi. Unless you are able to make the husband happy, there is no ras, there is no happiness. Because if he is unhappy, you are bound to be unhappy, even though you may have gotten your way. Isn't it? Is not that our experience? Is it not? Hey, I don't agree with you. I'm not going to do it. Okay, so you don't do it. So now he's walking around with a long face. How long are you going to stay happy? It will pull the environment down. There's just no way. Pirraliya Rasamanasi Shach Sabad Sukh Nehe. It is only the truth, the true word, which becomes the foundation for the true bliss. And now it takes the example to the same example to the next level. It says, Pir Pardesi Jethiye Dhan Vandi Chure What happens to the woman when the husband goes away for a long time? फिर परदेसी जे थी परदेश देश परदेश परदेश means some other country, देश means your own country. So if the husband फिर परदेसी जे थी if the husband goes to another country, what happens to the woman? It says dhanvandi jhure. Dhan means the wife, the patni. She is totally in what we call sulking mood, because the lover is not there. The one who appreciates, one who wants, one who needs, one who appreciates isn't around. Existence becomes meaningless. Why I am here? I have no purpose. फिर वांडी झूरे ज्यों जल थोड़े मछली कर्ण पलाव करे. It says, just as in a shortage of water, fish is constantly turning upside down, same is the situation of that lover. Karna palav, life has to go on. She is going around the life, but she is as if she just surviving. The fish is not getting enough water, just enough to stay alive. It's that state. फिर भावे सुख पाइए जहां आपे नदर करे. And when that husband, that lover, that pati is available, comes around, he is happy, you are happy. Now, that's the physical metaphor. Where is the spiritual implementation of this? Who's the pair here? Who's the husband here? The Creator. Who's the wife here? Every one of us. Regardless of in which body we are, male or female. He is the husband of us all. That's why we say Jeev. What's the next word? Istri. We never say Jeev Purush. Always say Jeev Istri. So, according to Eka Purkh Sabai Nar. That's what, when Mirabai was dared, and I shared that story from her life, that when somebody said, there is a man sitting inside who has never seen the face of a woman, she said, oh, come on, there is no man on this earth. I haven't seen a man yet, other than Krishna. I need to find out this man, this body who calls himself a man. And they're trying to stop her, and she forces herself, break the door down and say, oh yeah, look at you, you're a man. Because if you are a man, why are you scared of looking at the face of a woman? Krishna never ran away from any woman. There were not hundreds but thousands surrounding him. What kind of a man are you? Whose confidence in his own meditation is so weak that looking at the face of a woman, it will fall apart. You call this a man? It has always been hammered into. In Islam, the Sufis actually do not call themselves anything else other than the beloved of Allah. They always talk to him as the Ashik and Mehbooba. So here also it says, look, just as a worldly lover has a difficult time in living the life without the lover, Same is the case with a human with respect to the creative energy. But wait a minute, I don't feel that. Whether I'm a man or a woman, I don't feel that separation. Why not? Aha. That's what I was telling you earlier. You don't accept what has been told to you. See how it's linked? You don't feel that separation because your mind belief system just does not accept it. Believe me, such is the reality. फिर साला ही अपना सखी सहेली नाल. Another thing that the worldly wife refuses to do. What happens when the friends get together? They talk about their men. But what do they talk about though? My man has this problem, this deficiency, this shortage. And what are they trying to do by discussing that? They are trying to win the sympathy of the other women. Say, your life is not tough enough. Come, listen to me. I can tell you how tough my life is. A very, very sick type of ego satisfaction. By putting your man down. Saying, I am living with, I am better. Look what I got to put up with. You are much better. So most of the time in those dialogues, they will be talking about the other as a very good man and owns as a very bad man. And when the other turn will come, no, wait a minute. You just don't know the inner details. It looks that way. Story of every woman. Bar none. So, the belief system to shift. What? फिर साला ही अपना. It should be the other way around. Whenever you discussing your lover, you're talking about your beloved, it is better than anybody and everybody bar none. Because if that's not the case, you are not the lover. If the negative has magnified over the positive in your mindset, relationship is already dead. It has no life left. It does not matter what that relationship is. When the negative magnifies than the positive. But we have only way to talk when we talk in negative. And that's why Gurbani says, listen, I'll give you a solution to that problem. Whenever you friends get together, don't talk about your own husbands at all. Just stop discussing that topic. If you cannot say something good about your husband, stop. Talk of the husband of us all. At least you won't see, you have no idea what you got. Because everybody got the same. So what you should do? Pir salahi apana. Salana means always say a positive thing. And who's the one about whom we can always say positive and nothing negative? There's only one. That's why Gurbani said, Avo bhane gal mile ank sahe ladiya milke karo kahaniya samarat kant kiya. Oh my friends, come, let's get together and we are going to only talk about the husband of us all. Why? Sache sahib sab gun, avgun sab asa. Sacha, that the true husband has only positive in it. And the physical husband has always something in it which is not that good. And you will always end up focusing on slowly, well, this is good, but. That sentence will never end without but. It will always take there. Now these are, look how Gurbani is taking the day-to-day life and helping to change the paradigms, change the mindset, to practice. You can start practicing your meditation today, now, tonight. You don't have to sit and bend 10 times that way, 30 times that way. Make up your mind. Make a promise to yourself. If I talk about my husband or my lover or whosoever, I'm only going to talk about the good he or she has. As soon as my mind goes to the negative, I'm going to shut it off and say, no, I'm not your judge. I'm your lover. I'm not your critique. I'm not your psychologist. I'm your lover. I'm just going to love. Then learn to love. And if you learn to love here, you will find it will become your habit and loving him become very easy. It automatically translates. What it's doing? It's breaking the habit pattern which is always focused on what's that? The negative. I can guarantee you that there is not a human on this earth even with the most cruel ones who do not have positive in them. It's not possible to find a human. Now, the ratio can change. And an average person, you will find that the positives are always more than the negative. Even if it's 60-40, still the positives are more, the negatives are less. What do? We magnify if it is 40 to 100, sometimes even more than that. I did the experiment in my own home. I said, take a piece of paper, just write down anything that you like about me. And then also write down the things that you don't like about me. So I drew I couldn't do that. Why? Because I can fill on one side, I don't know what to fill on the other side. Couldn't. You can conduct the experiment yourself. Positives, negatives of the other. And see how many thoughts rush to you when you start filling the negative sides. This is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And then go to the other side and say, but what are the rights? You will have a very, very hard time even to bringing them 50-50.
Because you take those for granted.
Take those for granted. I think that's the way it should be.
I like that.
I accept your statement, but I believe my guru's statement. My guru tells me exactly the opposite.
No, I'm talking about a human perspective.
No, that human perspective is also distorted. When you say that's how it should be, the question is, how did you make that law? Based on what? That's how it should be. Who decides that? That's how it should be. Based on what? See, Gurbani is to give you the foundation. Based on what? He says, you are trying to get closer to the one. That one has these characteristics. So I am trying to get you closer to that. That's why look for positive and not the negative. That's why when the emphasis of whether it is a Christian God, Muslim God, Judaism God, which is judgmental, rewarding and punishing, was not accepted by Sikhism. So if you are putting any values to that creative energy, you are bringing that energy down to your level. You are not seeing the energy the way it is. And that energy is transcendental beyond all of those, positive and negative. And unless you get to that stage, you cannot experience it. Hence, I am trying to get you there. That's why it's recommending, which is Pirsalahi Apana. Start practicing from your home. Stop critiquing your own. If you call that I am in love, if it is lover, here, if it's the husband, then stop focusing on the negative. What you envision as a negative, is the other in 100% agreement that it is negative? I rest my case. You can fill up the blanks now.
Very, very good point.
You can fill up the blanks now. It's almost impossible to be a god. Become god-like, you have to turn that impossibility into a possibility. You do not let the mind rest on that process, that thought. If it comes, you ignore it and move on. If you stop there, delve in it, it has caught you. That's why Gurbani says, this is really a school for you. You have been sent here with the physical body so that you can evolve using this physical body to higher states of consciousness. Without this body, you cannot practice those things. Without living in the world, you would not find those circumstances. Hence, Sikhism says, please don't run away. Don't go to the jungle or the forest or the hills. Stay in the world. Use this world as your mirror. It is reflecting something on you. Use that input. So, Pirsalahi Apana. Kithe Sakhi Saheli Naal. When you are sitting amongst your friends, learn to appreciate your lover. Now, if you have learned in the physical world, then sitting in a crowd like this, we can talk praise of the ultimate creator without any problem. It would not even come as a surprise. It would not be difficult. We are also Sakhi Sili, right? We are also friends. And we are talking of not my husband or your husband. We are talking about everybody's husband. Now we can talk without any problem. Pirsalahi apna sakhi saheli naal tan sohe man moha rati rang nihal. Suddenly, because the mind has changed from what? It was doing negative things about the lover. It has suddenly changed the mind. It has now saying positive things. So if the mind has changed, what has happened to the body? Tan so hai. Suddenly the body also starts changing accordingly. Tan so hai, man moheya, because the mind has now been properly attracted, moho, attracted by the right energy, body will shift also. Rati, Rang, Nihal, suddenly all of the aura about your body changes. Shabda Savari Sohani Pirrave Gunanal. Now that word has taken roots and you start becoming appreciated by your lover, admired by your lover. And more you are admired by your lover, more love arises in you. It becomes a snowballing effect. One feeds to the other. All it needs is start the process. Then it picks its own momentum. Kaman kamana avai khoti avagan ar. Kaman literally means the lover. Kaman kamana avai khoti avagan ar. But that mind-body system which does not accept that, khoti means impure, avaganyar, without the proper practices, gun and avagan. The proper characteristics, it doesn't move even a step forward. Na sukh peiye sahore jhoot jali vekar. Then what happens? So, na sukh peiye sahore. Peiye means the house of the father. Sahore means the house of the father-in-law. She's not able to stay in either house. Right? What happens when a newly married girl goes to the father-in-law's house, stays with the husband for a while, doesn't get along, picks a fight? What does he say? Pack up your bags and go back to your parents. She comes back. Okay. Now parents find out what happened. Picked a fight. Well, that's not very nice. I can't keep you here. This is not your place. Your place is over there with your husband. So they will call a few meetings of the neutral people, and they will try to settle the things down, send her back. But that's her basic nature. She doesn't stay there for a few months again and comes back again. So what's happening? Few months here, few months there, few months there, few months there. The whole life. How is that applied here? We come here, Guru Shabad tells us to change us, we don't change. We go back there, he looks at us, go back. So we come right back here. But we can't stay here forever. Can we?
How come we come like that? How come we don't come with all the positive? Because he sent us.
No, that's a journey. It has collected over journey without understanding. That's what it started. We started the hymn by saying the mind-body system not accepting the complete truth because it does not make sense to me. Because I can see when Guru is saying to me, nobody ever touched you. What do you mean nobody touched you? I've been crying for 3 days. Look at the face. Look at how many stitches I got. So, Guru is a liar. I don't accept it. Because I did not understand that the Guru is talking of the micro level of spirituality. I am focused on the physical side. I didn't understand the word, so I rejected it. Because I rejected it, the whole process got contaminated. Okay, fine. It got contaminated. How do I change it? Well, start from where you left. Start in the same physical world. And Guru gives us a meditation. Just start from your own environment, local, close home environment. You are used to only talking bad things about others. Forget about the husband-wife relationship. When we get together and we talk of those people we know about, what do we talk about? How good that person is? That dialogue, if starts, doesn't go more than 3 minutes. Give and take a few. The conversation immediately changes it to what the other person is doing wrong according to you. You become the judge, jury, and the executioner. You condemn the person, label the person, and package it. This person is like this. Why? I've seen him. You say, well, okay, start right here. Learn to change your paradigm, change your mindset. When the mind comes to that, say, hold it. It's his life, it's his destiny. Why I'm sitting here and wasting my time, focusing on the negative, and corrupting my mind with the negative thoughts. Stop. Let's only talk of something that positive. We enjoyed so much time, so much space, so much things, so many things, so many activities. Let's talk about that. That's it. Can we do that? From a practical point of view, it's not that difficult. It is when those monkeys in our back were, wait a minute. He never talks good about me, so why should I talk good about him? Back to the square one. We just justified why I can't stay with a positive energy. So, Gurbani says, when you do that, what happens? You fall into the trap, coming and going. Life cycles. Just as husband and wife in this life, because the father cannot keep the girl, and the father-in-law, she doesn't accept. She's constantly picking a fight either with the mother-in-law, sister-in-law, husband, or neighbors, or whatever, and he says, go back. Same thing happens when you look from that relationship. The Guru gives the word, we don't accept it, we go back the way we came. He looks at it and says, you haven't changed, go back. So what happens? Na sukh peye. There is no relief in the house of the father. Shahore. There is no relief in the house of the husband. Chut jali vekar. Whole of the life has been wasted by the chut, means the falsehood. Aman, vanjan, dakhado, chodi, kant visar. To come and to go back is the real actual punishment. Dakhado means very mushkil, very, very difficult. In Gurbani, there is only one dukkha, only one painful process. It says there is no more painful process than for the soul to be locked in for 9 months in the womb and then have to take birth to the birth canal and then face the sufferings of positive and negative on this planet. There is no other punishment that can be given to the human being. Where did this concept of hell came from? The fire. The whole of the energy takes the food through the heat and chemical reaction, converts into the rest of the body parts, right? Where is the fetus? Right in the same stomach. It's feeling the same heat. Not for 1, not for 2, but 10 months. Right? Where is the hell concept of you will be in the excretion? Isn't her mother's body's waste right next there? The bladder is right there. So, Gurbani says, what more hell are you looking for? It's already there. You already experienced it. And if you don't do something, you will experience it again. You'll be coming back through the same process. Why are you worried about more? That's why Kabir said, Surga baas na bachiye, dariye na narak nivas. What is the heaven and what's the hell? What are you talking about? You don't see it? You don't feel it? That's why Buddha said, it is never a manuk that is born. It's always dukh that is born. मानुख का जन्म नहीं होता, दुख का ही जन्म होता है. That's Buddha for you. Saying the same thing in a different way. And that's what Gurbani is saying. Aman vanjan dakhado. To come, vanjan, to go back is the real difficult thing to do. But how does it happen? Chodi kant visar. It's happening because you have actually forgotten the reality, the real husband. You have actually gone away from Pirki nar sohamani mutti so ke tasad. Those who want to call themselves true husband, lovers, or wife, they cannot mutti so kitasad. Mutti means to get lost. In sad means the taste. You cannot get lost in the sensual taste if you are the true lover. What does it mean? When I'm lost in my taste, I'm only worried about me. Isn't it? I want to satisfy that sensual desire, whatever that is. What's the true definition of a lover? He thinks of the other, not of the self. But the one who's trapped by the senses cannot think of the other, because the sense would not let go. Feed me first. Complete me first. At that moment, how can there be love for anybody else? These are opposite aims. These are opposite dimensions of existence. Either you can satisfy your own sensual desires, or you can take care of your lovers. And in the modern industrial science, it has become more and more and more difficult. Because the self and the equality and the 50-50 and sharing and this and that, all that pseudo psychology, that pop psychology that has popped up over it's mind-boggling. Become friend to your children, not your don't stay parents. Gurbani says, this is what has happened. Pirki nar sohavani mutti ko so kitasad. Sad, the taste, the senses. We are satisfying different senses. Where I was brought up, it was the collectiveness was the important. Where I am bringing my children up, individualism is the ruler. Collectiveness has nothing to do with it. Family unit has nothing to do with it. My brother didn't get up and pack up and leave and say, I have no place in this home anymore. Whether it was right, whether it was wrong, father is a father is a father. He never worried about that he's now grown up, he's married, he has his own son. I have no right to tell him how he wants to raise it. No. I am the father, I rule this house. And nobody dared. Change it. Question it. Challenge it. Mindset has changed. Individuality has taken hold. When the individuality takes hold, it pays a price. Which is what? The love disappears. Because love is not based on the individuality. Love is based on the other. It's not based on the self. And we keep on confusing the sensual pull and call it love. The day we understood that difference, what will happen? So long this continues, Pirke kamna avani bole fadalabad. Look at how Gurbani says it is useless. But to that mind, what are they doing? Bole fadalabad. बेकार दियां गल्लां करके अपने आप ਨੂੰ justify कर. They find the reasons and excuses and justify their behavior. Bole, to say, fadal, useless, bad, bekar. They will argue with you to defend a behavior, a way of living which is completely unnatural, counter to all the lessons and processes given to you, documented, but they'll justify it. What happens? Pirke kamna avni. They are not accepted. That's it. That's the only punishment. You are not accepted. Then come back again. Nature will never say you, this is the last chance, you are done with, either you do or not. And say, no, keep coming. God is not in any hurry to go anywhere. Where is the eternity going to go? Only you have to go somewhere. So he says, I am fine. You want to keep on making that mistake? Okay, come back. Make the same mistake. As many as times you want. Nature will never come and hold your hand and say, don't do it. Even a guru will not come and say, don't do it. Much less God. Guru will say, look, I have been there, done that, seen it. This is the end result. That's why I wrote it this way. Accept it. Follow it. You may get somewhere. If not, pirke kamna yamni bole fadal baad dar ghar dhoi na lahe chuti duje saad. Then there is no place for this type of soul in that dimension, and in this dimension they keep on getting from here to there. Why are they same way? Your question. Why do we get? What led it to this? Because this is what led to it. Pandit vache pothiyan na bujhe vichar. You see, those so-called preachers. Pandit doesn't mean the way we interpret it. Pandit means the one who knows, one who have read and understood and studied. The knower or the gyani. पंजाबी चों ज्ञानी कहता, हिंदी चों पंडित कह देता, इस्लाम चों मुल्ला कह देता, क्रिश्चियनिटी च पादरी कह देता, the priest कहता, But these are those who claim and advertise as one who know. Well, how do they know? Based on Pandit Vache Pothiyan. There are some books. And they take those books and analyze them. But how do they analyze?
What is analyze?
Yeah. Vachana, vicharana, analyze karna. How do they do it? Based on the laws of physics and science and grammar, which are human created. Then what happens? Na bujhe vichar. Bujhe means a riddle. To solve a riddle. Bujhna. They don't solve the riddle. They only do the analysis of what is written in the books. But those books are actually using the language in the form of riddles. Because it is not possible to say it straight. So then what happens? When they do this, Ankau matti de chale maya ka vapar. Ankau. They tell the others, here is the translation, give me the money. Their own focus is only what? Maya ka vapar. Their basic objective is not to tell you the truth. Number one. Number two, they do not know the truth. Why? Because they are applying the laws of the physical reality. But these, all scriptures, whether it's Vedas, Puranas, Gitas, it doesn't matter what they are actually all of them written in a mystic language, which is uses the words as a metaphor, as a symbol of something. But they won't apply that, they won't go there. They will interpret it straight, and to the average intellect, yeah, this is what's written, it means this, it sounds perfectly okay. Thank you, oh the learned one. Thanks for spending time with me. Here is the money. They are both done. Which keeps on reinforcing the wrong belief systems. Anko matti de chale, maya ka vapar, kathni chuthi jag pave. Because that was the impure saying, kathana means to say, chutha means the impure, whole of the world gets trapped by it. Kathni chuthi jag pave. So the biggest damage done to the consciousness of humankind is by these so-called the learned ones. Has always been from the time immemorial. Only those who have revolted against them and gotten out of the system, broke their mold of belief system and created new. They are the only one who has created something. Those who followed. I mean, what was Jesus, right? I mean, he could have gone the way that the Torah said. Jews, he was born a Jew. What's wrong with it? Jews are still there. They're still following exactly what is done there. He saw the fallacy of it, broke the belief system, and tried to tell them the word is written that way, but it is not exactly that. It is what is hidden behind it. Let me show you that. Which is what this is. Yeah, the Vedas, Puranas have written it correctly. There is absolutely no doubt. But the interpretation you got is not what they were trying to communicate. So now you need to change your belief system and say, aha, this is what I heard before, but that's not it. Something more than that. Unless you do that, katni chuthi jag pave rehni shabad sosar. Those who have accepted the actual secret of the word, they are the only one who were able to take advantage of that. Others all got lost. केते पंडित जोत की बेदा करे विचार वाद वरोणे सलाहने वादे आवन जान बिनकुर कर्म ना छुटसी कै सुन आख वखान. When I say it's not just one, Kete Pandit. There are numerous so-called the one in knowing. Not only that, Jyotaki, astrologers, who can depict the future. Isn't it? Today, how much has been written on Nostradamus? Most of you have heard the word. And how much analysis, how many documentaries are done on somebody for hundreds of years. He wrote this because he was predicting that. After 4 years, now they are saying he predicted 9/11. Hey dummy, this has been written for 500 years ago. If you knew he predicted it, why didn't you do something to stop it? All a conjecture. All a conjecture. Nobody really knows the name. But the business goes on. Business hasn't stopped. Kete Pandit Jod ki beda kare bichar. It says they all come and do the analysis and do the translations and interpretations. You can, look at me and say, well, you're doing the same thing, so what's the big deal? How do we know that what you're saying is truth? The answer is you don't. Am I saying the truth? I don't know. Am I? That's where your belief system comes. That's where your discerning comes. So, but mostly what happens, what's the end result of this? Gurbani says, Vad Virod Salahane Vado Amanaja. All that has done is created controversies, contradictions, Vad Virod. It has not moved the consciousness further. Why? Because these are not solving the riddles. They are taking the literal words of each granth. It doesn't matter which granth that is. They're taking. If you were to sit down with Muhammad and ask him, did you mean this? The way they are interpreting it today. Which is, the whole of the earth has to say Allahu Akbar. Who doesn't, they are all ready to be killed. Women, children, military, civilian, it doesn't matter. They're all okay to be killed. Either they say that or that. That is the whole emphasis of we want a rule around the world according to Quran, and that Quran according to us how we interpret it. Could Muhammad have ever done that, said that? I have read the whole Quran. I'm not telling you from just hearsay. Not only that, I put different words and try to research in the text. Do these even words appear? You kill and you get 70 hurans. The word hur is not there, much less 70. I don't know how they came up with this. But the people believe it. They are blowing others up and they are killing themselves based on that belief system. Gurbani says, there is nothing new. This is the end destiny of everyone who does not take the word and go behind the message, see the message, than the word itself. All it will create, vad, virod, discussion and contradiction and opposition. Vade Amun Jan, and the whole life is wasted. In that discussion, bin gur karm na chuti si, kaison aap vakhan, without the true master who's been there, done that, seen it, you are not going to be able to make a clear-cut distinction in that. So then, the akhri, the last sentence, then what is the way out of this? The first lesson, the first requirement. Sab gunvanti aakhiye, main gun nahi koi. There is the man, the I. There is no. So long as I is associated with any action, any thought, it is not going to convert into the positive energy. Because it will immediately, when you say me, I, you have put your own stamp, your own paradigm, your own biases into it. It's already there. If you want to start the process, which is in another way saying, don't look negative in the other, which is saying, subdue your I, surrender your I. Sab gunvanti aakhiye. Everything can turn into positive so long as main gun nahi koi. So long as the I is not associated with it, it has a potential of becoming positive. As long as I is associated with it, it will not become positive. Har var na sohavani main bhave prabh soye. Only wherever you have the word I substituted with what? Jo prabh bhave. If it is acceptable to him, then it's okay. So, you can say it another way. How do I know what I'm doing right or wrong? Ask, is it getting me closer? Forget about the label of the society, the friends, the parents, the relatives. Just remember one label. Is he accepting it?
How do you know if he's accepting it?
Ask that question, you'll find the answer, I guarantee you. You'll find somebody inside telling you. Try ever. On anything. It never fails anyone. It will force you to take the high road, and the problem is the high road is not easy. You're going to listen to the message, then you're going to ignore it, and you're going to take the road that's convenient. There lies the problem. Then you can justify it. Which is what it said. आपस में गल्ला बात पे करके बोले फादल बात, we justify it. हर वर नार सुहावणी मैं भावे प्रभ सोए नानक शब्द मिलावड़ा ना विछोड़ा होए. If you accept that word and you follow that word, Gurbani says it's guaranteed. You will be able to achieve to your ultimate aim of life, and it is such aim that na vichoda, then you will not come back again from him. It will not be possible. So, may he give us the strength and the wisdom and the desire to take these words to heart and implement it. This is the conclusion of the 5th Ashtapadi. So in our next sitting, we'll take the journey from this point onward. Thank you all for coming.